and you're looking to purchase a question, you can find my Cash App and PayPal in the description box below. Send payment, then throw your comment down below, and I will answer them as they come through. Thank you guys for that, by the way, and thank you as well for the donations. If you would like to be able to donate, you can find my Cash App, PayPal, and Amazon wish list all down there. There's also the super thanks button and the super chat stickers. All of those things are great ways to be able to show your support for this channel and to be able to give back for what I bring to you guys. Thank you guys so much for that. Same with liking, sharing, commenting, subscribing, leaving timestamps on my pick a cards. You guys are amazing. Thank you so much for everything that you do to show your support and to give back. So let's get started with this reading. Today we are going to be looking into some types of abuse that the collective may have went through, that they could be currently working through some of the things left over from these abuses. There could be some triggers coming up currently or something along those lines. Maybe even things that you thought were long healed that are popping back up a little bit again. So, scapegoat, gaslighting. Always to blame, apologizes for being self. You know what's funny about this? Yesterday, got into an argument with somebody because somebody had dumped seasoning all over their counter. The only two people in the house are me and that person, and I didn't do it. Although I will say the last house that I stayed at, somebody broke into there. Kind of like they've been breaking into my trailer for the last few years, so it could have been that. But anyway, scapegoating and gaslighting is the first one that is popping up for types of abuse. Neglect and invisibility causes feelings of not belonging or unworthiness. So this is like somebody placing everything as a priority over the top of you. Literally everything. My mom was a single mom with 5 children. It was pretty much neglect. There wasn't much else other than that in my childhood. But at the same time, I am really fucking grateful for the freedom I fucking had as a kid, because you know what? I would so much rather have that than the helicopter parent always breathing down your neck every time you turn around. Personally, that's just my opinion on that one. Both are bad in their own ways, but honestly, I would prefer that over the other. I had the other when I was in a group home, and it was there was a lot of scapegoating and gaslighting in that place. Narcissistic abuse. Ego and insecurity projected as an inflated sense of self. So we're going to start with those 3. If you're currently going through some things right now where these things are being triggered again from the past abuse or pain that you've gone through, you could currently be dealing with somebody who is very high on the narcissistic scale. There's only like 2% of the population that is actually clinically a narcissist, but there's a lot of narcissism in this world. Every person, including myself and you, has a bit of narcissism in them. To varying degrees, we all have some narcissism. But a lot of the people that are in this collective, considering my history, have definitely dealt with an actual narcissist as well. This can also cause you to question each new person that comes into your life because of certain characteristics or qualities that they may possess. Shut up, please. No, you're going to get the other dogs chasing after them. Knock it off. Anyway, this could bring up feelings that each new person that comes into your life that even has a minor flaw is another narcissist. You could catch yourself thinking, oh, he's a narcissist, and he's a narcissist, and she's a narcissist, and everybody's a narcissist. And let me tell you, there is some narcissistic qualities in each person we meet. But at the same time, not everyone is actually a clinical narcissist. You are definitely dealing with people at this current moment, though, that have very large egos. And they have a tendency to place themselves above people around them, to think they're better than people around them. They're the type of person that would sit down in a restaurant and then start discussing what qualifies as a good waiter or waitress and whether or not they're going to be getting a tip from them, and discussing it loudly enough for the whole room to hear. They're the type of person that goes to church every Sunday and tries to pretend like they are the most righteous person on the planet, but has been hiding for the last 15 years that they've been divorced before. And when it comes to narcissistic abuse with the scapegoating and the gaslighting, this can really leave you as a shell of your former self by the time you are done with this person. This can make you go from somebody who can be a single mother taking care of 5 children all on her own to somebody who can't manage to take care of 3 of them by herself. This can really break down your self-esteem, your self-confidence, your ability to think clearly or make a decision. It can cause you to question your every move, your every step. It can cause you to feel like anytime that there is anything wrong, you are the responsible party, and it doesn't even matter what's going on. It makes you feel like you are responsible for the other person's actions, their behaviors, their emotions, and then you all of a sudden start wanting to fix everyone or everything that you come into contact with. There are a lot of good things that come from it, because that's where 99% of our empaths come from on this world. At least our actual strong empaths, the ones that really super feel the emotions of others, and they feel them because they've been conditioned to feel them. They've been conditioned to pick up on them. They've been conditioned to pick up on every little change or shift in the environment and the moods around them and everything going on around them, because if anything goes wrong at all, they're going to be blamed, and it's going to come out of nowhere, and it's going to be explosive. This is the type of person where everyone around you will start to think that you are a liar. Everyone around you will start to think that you're lazy. Everyone around you will just, and it's like, I don't know where they're getting their information from. I don't know where they're getting their ideas or their opinions from. I've never done anything to cause these people to dislike me, but all of a sudden everybody around me dislikes me, and that's because you got somebody going around behind your back, whispering to other people about all the things that you're doing wrong all the time. And they sugarcoat it with little sprinklings of good things in it so that people don't see their ill intentions while doing it. But that also means that the moment you decide to express something to somebody about something that they do, they're like, oh, they never would have done that anyway. You're just fucking lying. You're just fucking crazy. I've already heard all the stories about you anyway. Why would I ever believe you? A lot of you could have actually been very isolated away from the rest of the world as well. Feeling like you have no friends, no family, nobody around to support you in your time of need. You're welcome, beautiful. Thank you for being here today. You are a phoenix, made to rise from the ashes of the past. No matter what you endure, you will always rise up again with more strength and more wisdom than before. Like I said, there are a lot of good things that come from these as well. The neglect and the invisibility. A lot of the good parts about that is you have been able to practice observing human behavior and things like that. You pick up on psychology very easily. You also have a tendency to be able to take care of yourself when it comes to certain situations. You have an ability to be able to stand strong on your own with nobody around you. You don't necessarily have the desire to be the popular person in the crowd. And you're okay if you're not. You're okay without the group of people surrounding you. The scapegoating and gaslighting. Most people who get scapegoated and gaslit are extremely defensive when it comes to getting blamed for things. Even if they didn't start out that way, generally they end up that way. A lot of people, when people get defensive, they're like, oh, they're lying because they're getting so upset about it. No, most of the time they're fucking telling the truth, and they're pissed off because you won't fucking listen to them. Duh, you dumbass. What the hell's wrong with people anyway? But anyway, one of the good things though is you learn how to temper yourself in situations like that. You learn how to not take other people's thoughts or ideas of you and make them your own so much. You learn how to drop that need for that validation or that need to have anybody believe you, because nobody's believed you your entire life and you've been just fine without it. I have absolutely no idea how that moved down there. It was probably the wind, but I didn't see it that time at all. Take some you time to relax. Meditation, massage, bath, shower. If it's too stressful, take a break and then come back to it later. It will be much easier to deal with if you have a fresh and rested mind. So, for the people that are going into new situations and you're worried that you might be dealing with the same things from the past, you might just need to take a breather and kind of pull your energy back to yourself so that you can assure yourself that you're in your own energy and that you're not picking up on the feelings or the thoughts or anything like that of other people around you. Take a break for you. Rest, reflect. Give yourself some time, some space, and some peace, and the answers will come to you. Try not to take the answers that come to you when you're in a very fearful or defensive mode. And also, there may be a thing here as well with reacting to situations quite impulsively instead of taking some time to think and respond. Somebody told me last night that I don't shut my mouth long enough to listen. And I was like, you know what? I've listened enough over the last week and a half to everything you've had to say that it was about damn time that I opened my mouth. But it took me a little while to actually think of what I was going to say in response to that. And sometimes, yeah, it still comes out like that, even after you think it through before you put it out there. But you know what? If it is still coming out like that, after you've thought it through and after you've taken some time, then apparently it needs to. Get active to release the toxic energies within yourself. Ride a bike, hike, chop wood, clean, organize, art, writing, working out, yoga, stretching, games, activities. All of these things will help to get you out of your mind and help to really just separate yourself from the issues at hand when you're dealing with certain situations. It's a good way to be able to distract yourself for a bit. Hey! Angel! Sorry. Dogs are outside this time. And she is still learning to stay in this area. Thank you. Multitasking. Doing a good job of it today. So anyway, if you take that time and that space and you allow yourself to fill your mind and fill your body and your energy with something else entirely, it's going to help to cleanse and clear your energy. It's going to help you to free up your mind. It's going to help you to make those decisions in a more clear-cut way. Instead of feeling so burdened while you're making those decisions or stressed or worried or indecisive, it's going to give you some time for clarity and truth to come in. Sorry about the screaming, guys. That was probably really loud. It was really loud over here. Turn your wounds into wisdom. The strength lies within. Look at everything that you've been through. Take pride in your ability to survive and thrive. So, not only have you survived each and every one of these encounters that you've had, these encounters with people who have chosen to throw you under the bus, the people who have chosen to make you out to be the bad guy, the people that have chosen to lie about you, use you, abuse you, walk on you, the people who have chosen to put you in the corner. Nobody puts baby in the corner. All of those people and all of those situations that you've dealt with, the people that were possessive, manipulative, controlling, constantly tearing you down, the backhanded compliments, the cruelty, the cruel jokes at your expense and then laughing about it like it's okay. All of those things that you've gone through, not only have you survived those things, but you have actually learned how to thrive in the most toxic of environments that there is. Which means you could fucking thrive anywhere. You could grow anywhere, in any conditions. So you really need to realize just how amazingly strong you have become only because of these situations that you have gone through. And yes, you may feel like there are some weaknesses left behind because of these things. But just you sitting here today listening to this reading, 444, that proves right there that those aren't weaknesses, because every day you are working on them, improving them, learning how to grow, learning how to function in a good way again after the abuse that you've been through. Fighting that voice inside your head that's telling you, oh, you're just crazy and none of this ever happened and you really are the bad guy. Because yeah, that sucks. It does suck. It sucks having that voice inside of your head telling you, no, you were right the first time. You are the bad guy, just like everybody said you were. You are crazy. None of that really happened. You're just delusional and making things up. Don't listen to that fucking voice, because that voice is fucking retarded and it doesn't need to be listened to. Crown chakra. Listen to your guides. They are always near you to guide you on your path. Connect through prayer. Connect to a higher power through prayers, routines, or meditation. So at this current time, something that's really going to help you as well, because you may be feeling very confused by the messages coming at you and whether or not those messages are coming from source, whether or not those messages are coming from our divine mother and divine father, or whether or not those messages are coming from somewhere else. And that discernment can be very hard to find at times. Praying more, meditating more, getting some more routine and some more balance and structure in your life in a bit of a way can help you to be able to ensure that you are connected in that way and that the messages you're receiving are coming from where you think that they are coming from. And for some of you, the routine isn't going to be as helpful as the non-routine will be. Because for some people, they actually work better when things are less routine and less structured. And some people work better with them more structured and more routine. Sacral chakra. So that has to do with your sexual energy. That has to do with your passion, your vitality, your motivation, drive, ambition, your goals, your dreams. It has to do with the actions you take, how you take them, why you take them, what's driving you. It has to do with shame and guilt. It has to do with your creativity as well. Stay down here, guys. Follow your passions and your desires with a fearless freedom. Release any guilt or shame surrounding what you want. So when you're dealing with narcissistic abuse or neglect and invisibility or scapegoating and gaslighting, any of those things really, and you're made to feel like what you want doesn't matter, like you're only perfect if you never want anything, you're only good enough if you never have any desires. When you're made to feel that way, then you feel like any desire that you have is something to be ashamed of. Any want that you have, any dream that you have. If you have a desire to be seen, if you have a desire to be heard, if you have a desire to be out there in the public eye, that is definitely one of those things that's going to be affected by some of these forms of abuse. At this time, one of the biggest things you're going to be working on is releasing that shame over your desires, over your passions, over what drives you, what motivates you, what inspires you, over the type of sex you have, how you have it, where you have it, who you have it with. Because none of those things matter. The only thing that matters is whether or not it's consensual for both parties. If it's consensual for both parties, then everybody else can suck a dick, because you should be allowed to do what you want to do in your own fucking sex life. Hi, beautiful. Thank you. I hope you're having a really good day too. So let's see what else we got. Move forward with purpose. Strive for success in the most important of ways. Self-love. Self-love is the greatest success that you can find. Self-validation, self-respect, self-acknowledgement. No longer being invisible to you is also going to make you no longer invisible to the world around you. Looking at yourself in the mirror, loving yourself, and telling yourself that what you want matters. Who you are matters. Where you come from matters. And everything in between. You have an important purpose on this earth, and it doesn't matter if you're meant to be a bagger at a grocery store for the rest of your fucking life. You were meant to be there for a reason, and that purpose is a very big one. It's kind of like on It's a Wonderful Life. He was a banker. for his whole life. And he really did not think that that was a very big deal. When he was in trouble and he was hurt and he was upset, he started wishing that he was dead. And then he was like, nah, instead I just wish I was never born. He got to see what the world looked like without him being born. Just a banker in a small little town in the middle of nowhere. And look how big of a fucking gap his life left when it was taken off of this planet. Every single fucking person on this planet has a great purpose and is chosen. I really hate that everybody's like, oh, there's only a couple chosen people. No. Everyone is chosen. And everyone is important. You are important. And you need to tell yourself that every day. Do not ever believe those people that have told you you're unimportant, you don't matter, you're unworthy. Because they're full of shit. And they don't even know what is valuable if it was there to bite them in the face. Obviously, because they didn't think you were valuable. Truth brings justice. Taking action, bringing a message of truth. And actually, they thought you were valuable. They just didn't want you to know you were valuable. Because 9 times out of 10, narcissists don't pick stupid people. They don't pick weak people. They don't pick... And actually, that's usually when they pull their energy back from you and they really start to hate you and dislike you in a lot of ways, is when you become that sniveling mess that they created. My comments decided to shut off. Stupid thing. I really don't like them when that happens. Anyway. Goal-oriented, fighting for truth, quick action, eyes on the prize, watching truth bloom. One of these days, I'm hoping I will be able to get a new phone. I did find some somewhat cheaper phones on Amazon. I threw a couple of them on my wish list. I'm really hoping that one of these days I'm able to do something about that because this phone is irritating. Exploring what works. Planning for the future. Playing your cards close to the chest, growth like magic from hard work. Planting your seeds, nourishing them. Seeds have been planted. Nourishing them so that things can grow slow and steady. So, if you're feeling like things are moving too fast for you, if you're feeling uncomfortable in situations, if you're feeling like things just need to slow down, if you're feeling a little overwhelmed, if you're feeling just out of your comfort zone, it is okay to express that to people. It's okay to tell them, hey, look, we need to slow this down a little bit. We need to just chill a little bit. I need some time. I need some space. I need to be able to take care of me for a day. You need to find something to do because I got shit I need to take care of for me. It's okay to tell people that. It's okay to want that. It's okay to not be there every second of the day for everyone else, especially if people are not there for you. So remember that when you're dealing with situations and people, that there is nothing wrong with you taking a minute to take care of you. And just to throw this out there, guys, my messages or my comments are not working right now still. I'm going to try something really quick. Yeah, that didn't work either. Anyway, so if you're looking to purchase a question, I won't be seeing your comment, which kind of sucks. Queen of Scythes, Knight of Chalices, and the 9 of Scythes. So, some of you could be dealing with a fear of expressing your true emotions, a fear of putting your heart out there, a fear of your heart being stomped on, a fear of being made fun of. In this part of the show of Buffy, he is actually expressing his love for a woman through poetry. And everybody in the entire room starts laughing at him and making fun of him and all kinds of shit like that. And so you may have dealt with the past has really made you very guarded, very defensive when it comes to expressing your love or expressing your emotion, expressing that softer, sweeter side of yourself. You're a very intelligent person, but you may be a little bit cold in the way that you talk to people, or a little bit detached in the way that you talk to people, because you're always worrying about manifesting this nightmare world or entering this nightmare world. It's like your worst dreams coming true in front of your very eyes, and you don't want to end up walking into that. So you may be very protective or very defensive over your words or your speech, or even your intelligence. It could be something as well about not wanting to show people or express to people how intelligent you are, the knowledge you have, the wisdom you have, the understanding you have of certain things or certain aspects, and or even praise for other people and what they're, or accepting that praise yourself. You could be having a lot of issues with those things. And a lot of this is because you have decided that your heart is not very important. Your mind is more important, and you should listen to that first and foremost. And you should always make sure that you know every detail of everything before you make a decision. I gotta grab my Angel. Angel, where are you? Because there is a car that just pulled in. Sorry, guys. This is where we're doing our reading today. Down here at the river. The river is way overfilled compared to normal. Okay, I know you were just right here. Where are you at? Way back there? At those trees, that's where the river's supposed to be. And this is where the river is. Fear of manifesting things that are just very emotionally neglectful, cruel. People that are callous with the way they behave towards you in ways. And honestly, this could actually be pulling some of that out of you, because you may be blocking off your heart a fair amount. So you may not be really thinking about how much you're hurting others when you say certain things, because you're detaching yourself from it in a way. And anybody who's been through that abuse has been through similar things. So there ain't no shame in it. So let's see what else today for types of abuse and stuff. So, types of abuse. Your nature used against you, an empath. So that goes back to that narcissistic abuse at the beginning too. Physical abuse. Power was taken with strength, feelings of weakness, and a need for control. So you may have learned how to, when somebody says jump, you say how high. And that's because you have learned that if you do not do what others want you to do, they will put their hands on you. And you have dealt with people who were taught that if others do not do what they say, they put their hands on them, because they need to have absolute control over people. So you may be dealing with some old submissive energy popping back up in some of the connections that you're dealing with at this time. You may also have a habit of flinching when people move too quickly or something like that. You could have a little bit of hyper vigilance as well, especially if you had the first area along with these ones. Ghosting triggers self-esteem, self-worth issues, and abandonment issues. I almost actually mentioned ghosting when we were talking about the neglect and invisibility in the first part too. Mental and emotional abuse, fear tactics and manipulation, isolated in fear. Definitely a lot of these go along with that first area too. Child of an addict. Drugs or alcohol was most important, and everything else was second place. And that's everything else. When you're dealing with an addict, doesn't matter what kind of addiction they have. It could be TV watching. Every fucking thing comes after that addiction. So once again, learning that you're not valuable, learning that you're unworthy, learning that others don't have time for you because other things are more important. And also, you definitely gained a lot of hypervigilance through the abuse that you went through. You also gained a lot of observational skills when it comes to people watching. You've gained a lot of psychological experience as well. The mental and emotional abuse is so hard sometimes to deal with, and every other type of abuse comes with it. Mental and emotional abuse goes with every type of abuse, but it's even worse when it is specifically used, when that is actually the motivation of it. Because some of the other ones just fuck with your mental energies and your emotional energies, but sometimes they actually go out of their way to and emotionally. Some of you could be dealing with some ghosting issues right now. And you know what? I'm feeling like this is a second half to the beginning half. Like a lot of that was what you went through in childhood. And because of that, you're dealing with a lot of this. And the reason you went through a lot of that in childhood could be because of addictions that your parents had, or just certain things that they made a priority over you. You could be dealing with that whole runner-chaser thing when it comes to the ghosting, where somebody disappears on you, and that makes you want to message them 50 times. And I've been there. Do not do that. Do not message them 50 times. Do not waste all your energy on it, your time on it, your worry on it, and everything else. When it comes to them disappearing on you like that, ooh, there's a song. I don't get bitter, I just get better. Damn it. I don't get bitter, I just get better. People come and go like the weather, and I just hit them with that okay. Because who the fuck needs that anyway? And a lot of times the connections in our life are going to do that a bit. We never even used to be able to be in contact with each other 24/7. That used to be an impossible thing to do. And people would get back to you pretty quickly sometimes, like in the 90s when everybody had the pagers. If somebody paged you, you got back to them right now. Otherwise, they may not be there by the time you get back to them. But this day and age, you can get back to people anytime you want to get back to them because it's always there and all that kind of stuff. Well, make yourself not there. What the hell do you need to sit around waiting for somebody that doesn't give a flying fuck about you for anyway? You don't. And that doesn't mean you don't care about them. That means you care about you. That means that you can just move away from that energy. And some of you could be dealing with physical abuse at this time as well. Or it could be something that has happened in your past. I'm feeling like the majority of you, it's going to be things that have happened in your past, but it's triggering responses in you now. Some of you may actually even be responding to certain people around you by ghosting because of the physical abuse you've suffered in your past. You may really avoid confrontations at a very high level. You may really not like fighting and arguing. And if anything seems like it's going to go that way, you're just like, bye, see you later, I'm out. Or you could be dealing with somebody who's going through that themselves as well. I've dealt with somebody who has gone through physical abuse before, and they did a lot of ghosting. They did a lot of breadcrumbing, and a lot of the reason that they did that is because they do not like fights at all. They don't like fights. They don't like confrontations, because they don't like the escalated area those situations can get to, and they have no idea how to stop them from going to that area. And so that goes right along with the mental and emotional abuse as well. When it comes to like screaming and yelling and arguing and things like that, it can turn into mental and emotional abuse very quickly. It can turn into name calling and the blame game and the projecting shit going on very quickly when people are in high emotions like that. Sometimes it is a very good thing to be able to be like, hey, everybody's really upset right now. Wait, maybe we should take an hour or two to collect our thoughts, and then we can come back to this issue. Make sure you go back to the issue, but sometimes it is a good thing to be able to step away from it for a minute, collect yourself, and then come back to it when you're not upset anymore. And sometimes even just somebody, you may be dealing with somebody that walks away every time something starts getting heated a little bit. I was dealing with that this last winter a little bit there for a minute. And one of the times he went to walk away, I was like, okay, fine. If we just need some space, then yeah, we just don't have a relationship either. And he's like, wait, what? And I was like, yeah. Because if it's not important enough that we can stand here and talk about it and communicate things, then we shouldn't be being together either. And it doesn't have to be a fight. If you would mention the things that are bothering you before they start escalating into that, and then you end up blowing up, it wouldn't be a problem. So what do you need to talk about? It may be time to have some of these conversations with some of the people in your life as well. Conversations about what they may be holding back or what you may be holding back. So, he's swell, she's sweller, he'll always be my feller. That's why I'll never tell her that I'm petrified. I've read this tale, there's wedding and betrayal. I know there'll come the day I want to run and hide. It's a song from Buffy. It's called I'll Never Tell. So there could be a lot of things that are being held back at this time that need to be discussed, that need to be communicated and brought out in the open so everybody could feel more comfortable in the situation that they're in. Everybody can feel like they can just be themselves and stop worrying about whether or not they're doing things right. Interpersonal effectiveness, getting interpersonal objectives met and maintained. In your relationships and increasing your self-respect when in interactions with others. So, once again, working on that communication, working on talking to each other, working on allowing people to see inside of you and allowing yourself to be noticed, heard, understood, not worrying so much about whether or not what you want or what you're stating is okay. Whether or not what you are or who you are is okay, because it is. You are not wrong for being you, or for feeling the way you do, or for having the issues that you do. And somebody who really loves you enough is going to be okay with having to break through a few barriers and having to overcome a few scars on your heart that have been left behind. 2424. Never feel like you're a victim. You are a survivor. Do not let others define you. Define yourself. Stand up for yourself and stand up for others. Stand up for what is right. So, there's definitely a need here as well to stand up for what you believe in, to stand up for what you feel is right, to say what you need to say, to express yourself, and to not let others behave any way that they want to behave when in your energy, while at the same time respecting them as well and realizing that whatever they're doing may not be the most evil thing on the planet just because it's something that you don't like personally. Don't be ashamed to share your scars. You are not what happened to you. You are what you choose to be. Your journey is what made you, not what defines you. So yet again, expressing yourself, letting people in. Don't be so afraid of telling people what has happened to you or what you've went through. There's a lot of people that are going to react with like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. Or maybe freak out or I don't want to hear about this or whatever. But there are going to be those who do. There are going to be those who actually do want to get to know you. That is a part of getting to know people. That's a part of creating intimate relationships. And if you are ghosting at this current time on certain people, then it could be because you are worried about them finding out about who you are or what you've gone through or what their reaction is going to be. And maybe you have a very strong emotional attachment to them at this time and you're feeling like, hey, I don't want this to get any more close or any more intimate because it's going to hurt really bad when these people finally know who I am and disappear. So sometimes when you're worried about people ghosting you, you can actually end up ghosting others because of it as well. Self-soothing can be very effective. Find a self-soothing technique that doesn't hurt yourself or others. Walks, jogs, hiking, a warm blanket cocoon, a nice fire, music, shower, and or stuffed or reeled animals to cuddle. There's a lot of ways that you can take care of yourself and the emotions that you have. And a lot of times when you've been through a lot of mental and emotional abuse, you may actually rely on others outside of you to care for those things more than you should. It can become a very large burden to other people when all of our burdens become their burdens. So it is a very good thing to be able to learn how to take care of those burdens ourselves. And yes, it's nice to have a shoulder to cry on once in a while. It is, and there's nothing wrong with that. But in case we don't have one, we will still be okay at the end of the day. And if you're coming into connections as well, remember that before they got there, you were okay. And you will be okay if they can't be there all the time for you too. You are everything that was not given to you. You are love, light, and wisdom. Pulling yourself out of the darkness is no easy task, so be proud of your progress. It's time to be proud of you. It's time to celebrate you. It's time to celebrate how far you've come, all the things you've learned, how much you've grown. To really see it, acknowledge it, appreciate it, recognize it. And also, when others are talking to you and try to tell you that you in some way are damaged, or you are in some way not good enough, or you are in some way living in the past, or whatever, because you're talking about the stories of what you've been through, or you're sharing your life with them, or you're getting closer and more intimately connected like that, those people are never going to end up with any close or intimate connections in their life, because apparently they don't know what it means to actually sit and share back and forth like that. That is a part of any good relationship. Do not let anybody talk you out of it or make you feel like you are wrong in some way for it. People who took your power blamed you, people who took your power blamed you for it, but you do not have to accept that distorted reality. People who abuse always blame the survivor to shift focus. That goes back to the scapegoating in the beginning part too. They shift that blame so that they can shift that focus, so they do not look like the bad guy. A lot of those people grew up in a household where the only way that they were ever good enough is if they were perfect, if they never did anything wrong, if they never wanted anything, if they never asked for anything, if they never made any kind of disturbance. And if they did, they were going to get the living fuck beat out of them, or something along those lines. Or they were going to get screamed at till the person was blue in their face and they were laying on the floor in a ball, curled up, shivering and crying. Had that done to me a fair amount as a kid. Quite often, pretty much daily for a little while there. So, and both of those are extremely awful things to have happen when anything goes. So who would actually want to admit that they did anything wrong coming from that? Especially if you had a parent that was like, oh, if you tell me the truth, everything's going to be okay and I'm not going to get mad. And then you tell them the truth and then they beat the living fuck out of you. Of course you're not going to tell the fucking truth. There's a lot of people that aren't going to tell the truth when they're faced with taking responsibility for certain things. And that's because of the punishment that will come with admitting the fault. And so most of the time, there is a lot of people, most of the time, they are going to shift that blame to you. To try to shift people's hatred off of them, or people's anger off of them, or disappointment, or whatever it is that they don't want to feel. And whatever punishment it is that they don't want to receive or they fear receiving, they're going to try to avoid by throwing your name in there instead of theirs. Very familiar with that one, especially with my ex-husband. Doesn't want anybody to hate him or see him as less than perfect. So, got to make sure he doesn't look that way. Got to make sure that anything that's bad that was done was placed on somebody else instead of him. The Tower, the Strength, and the Hermit. So at this time, you are learning, growing, understanding the power that you hold within you to be able to face things on your own too. With Buffy's sister, I always found it so fucking annoying that they would never let her do a damn thing. They wouldn't let her go out with them. They wouldn't teach her nothing, anything like that. Which is fucking stupid anyway. You're leaving her as a sitting duck if you're not teaching her anything, for one thing. But also, there was one night where she got stuck in a position by herself. And she got to see just how strong she was, just how capable she was. And by standing in that position and being able to survive it, everybody else saw it too. And they were a lot more free with her, at least for a little bit, until there was a whole bunch of other chosen ones and not just her sister. So, in this tower picture as well, this is the tower that was built to sacrifice Dawn to open a portal to another dimension. Instead of sacrificing Dawn, Buffy threw herself off of the tower. Dawn's blood started draining down in there, and it started opening the portal, and they had to actually completely kill her for the portal to remain open. Or no, the portal would remain open until she died. But they stopped the flow of blood, and then Buffy jumped off of there, and she was killed inside the portal, and the portal closed. So Buffy sacrificed herself for Dawn. And Buffy was constantly feeling like she needed to be saved. But what she really needed was to be able to face things on her own sometimes. So some of you could actually be dealing with as well the inability to be able to let go and allow other people the chance to face things on their own. Because sometimes they need to face things on their own and by themselves too. Sometimes they need to take that time and space away. Sometimes you need to take that time and space away. Because we come up with a lot of conclusions when we have that space to ourselves. We learn a lot of skills during that time. We can listen to our intuition more clearly at that time. Somebody may actually be watching you in your time alone as well. Somebody may have seen the sacrifices that you have made in your life. And somebody may actually want to come communicate with you about some of the things that have been hidden from you. Yeah, some of the things that have been hidden from you by somebody that definitely, you may have actually been the person, don't know where that shut off that time. You might have actually been the person who sacrificed yourself for other people during a lot of situations you faced in your life as well. You definitely have dealt with somebody who was careless, callous, cruel with their words, manipulative, possessive, controlling, maybe even OCD. Somebody that looked so perfect, was so amazing. Somebody that was in a position of power. Somebody that was unapproachable, or somebody that was above reproach. People that had a lot of power, a lot of strong positions, or a strong placement in your community around you, or something along those lines. This person could have manipulated things to make sure that you had nothing and no one. They could have isolated you from the world. They could have left you out in the cold. They could have made sure and ensured that you had no money, that you had no way to get money. They could have been trying to make a scenario where you had to come climbing or crawling back to them for whatever it is that you needed, so that you could never escape their cycle of abuse. But regardless of what they have done to you, in your time alone or on your own, you faced everything that you needed to face, and you leveled up. You outgrew that cycle, you overcame it, you learned from it, and you freed yourself. You freed yourself from this harmful and toxic situation and connection, and you have really gained your independence and your freedom. There could have been a lot of financial abuse that you dealt with this particular person as well. This person's words could have made you feel like you were nothing, like you were no one, like you didn't belong, like you weren't good enough, like nobody would ever accept you. Nobody would ever understand you. They could have told you all the time that they never understood you. They could have never heard you when you were speaking. So the song that goes along with this card here too is, I'm under your spell. How else could it be? Anyone would notice me. It's magic, I can tell. How you brought me out so easily. So there could have been a very strong love connection in your life that somebody may have fucked up in some way too. Somebody could have convinced somebody to walk away from you, or there could definitely have been something that happened in the dark, something that you don't know about that happened. Somebody could have actually been communicating to people behind your back to ensure that these people saw you as somebody that you were not, so that you would have nobody to support you in the situation or position that you're in. And somebody also could have been entrusted to come communicate something important to you, but they chose not to because they knew that without this information, you would struggle much harder. And they wanted to ensure that you struggled because they felt like you betrayed them. And in some fucking crazy ass fucking way, you walking away from their toxicity was a betrayal. You walking away from the nasty way they treated you was a betrayal. You deciding you were done with shit when they could not get over the fact that they couldn't control you or own you was a betrayal to this person. And this person hurt you because of it. Christina, beautiful. My comments are not working on here for some stupid reason right at this current moment. So if you can comment on this video after I go off the live, instead of during the live comments, if you can comment on this video afterwards, I will send you an email reading that is a couple paragraphs long to make up for it. Sorry, sweetheart. Root chakra. Be in the present moment. Feel your connection to the earth and the strength that it brings. Stability is yours. Take back your personal power. Find happiness, appreciation, and gratitude in all that you do. Solar plexus chakra. I feel like a lot of you were also convinced that your communication skills were not very good when you're actually exceptionally gifted in communication. You are very gifted in communication. Take back your hope, your joy, your happiness. Take back your dreams. Take back your belief. And know that anything is possible. Try not to allow your world become black and abysmal just because of this dark cloud that wants to hover over everybody. Open your heart to give and receive the blessings of love and light. It's time now to shift your energy from this defensive energy, from this detached energy, to an energy of being able to express yourself, being able to open up, being able to be vulnerable with people, and also being able to open yourself up to others being vulnerable with you, others wanting to connect to you, others wanting to express to you. Try not to run away from those people. So, I'm going to say one more time, Christina, sweetheart, after I am done with the live reading, throw your question in the comment underneath the reading. That way I can get it, because my comments are being really stupid right now. I am so sorry about that, sweetheart. And thank you guys. My whole video is being retarded today because it keeps stopping too. Thank you guys so much for being here today. And thank you for whatever support you send this way, whether it be liking, sharing, commenting, subscribing, purchasing, donating, anything that you guys do to support me in the work that I do. I really appreciate you guys so much. I hope this reading helped you, and I hope you guys have a beautiful night or day, whatever it is, wherever